Weeks later, at 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday, there was a knock at the door, and the person handed me eviction papers. I nearly died of shock and sadness. I couldn't sleep. I don't understand why, if the money didn't come, why didn't the manager send a notice or call me, especially since this was the only time I ever, in almost 3 years, failed to pay the rent. I had to seek help from lawyers and from the tenants union. I had to pay lawyers' fees, and now I have agreed to move out at the end of November. SHA now has lowered my rent, and they said it should have been 0 for September, but they didn't adjust it. Now I have resolved the entire problem and paid a great deal of money, but still they are punishing me. Now I have to find a new apartment, and I found a good one that is affordable, but when the manager called my apartment and the manager gave a bad reference, and the new apartment turned me down. I'm going to have a hard time finding an apartment for me and my son now. Even though I've settled the eviction, paid the bill, it was reported, and I got a bad reference. I'm scared that if I don't find a new place to move when the deadline comes, I'll be out on the streets, and I don't want to lose my Section 8 rights.
Thank you, Maria. I'd like to thank all the community members who came up here to speak and share their stories. I did want one point of order. I know that it can be a little noisy, but translators are actually trying to obviously do translation for people around them, so it might seem a little distracting, but ask for your patience and indulgence. I now want to introduce our moderators, Juan Jose Bocanegra, and Boca, as a lot of you know, has spent his whole adult life working for social justice and humane conditions for poor people. Boca has 33 years of local, national, and international organizing and social justice work experience. He is presently the primary of the Northwest Empowerment Institute, a private consultant firm in Seattle. And Dr. Alexis Harris is an assistant professor of sociology at the University of Washington. Her research is in the area of juvenile justice and social stratification and inequity. She has most recently worked with the Racial Disparity Project and the MLK Organizing Committee. Boca and Alexis.
Good evening. We are both really excited to be here. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us to learn more about the people who are in charge of our government, and also to really hold them accountable to what they're saying. So it's important to remember what they're saying tonight. It's being documented, and hold them accountable for when they're in the positions of power, that we can remind them what they said. That being said, we just want to give the ground rules. We want this to be sort of a respectful engagement and a dialogue between the audience and the candidates. So the ground rules for the audience. The first one is that there are no oral questions will be taken from the audience, but volunteers will collect written questions, then select as many as we have time for after the last official question has been completed. Questions to candidates are to address issues and not their personalities. Audience members are asked to refrain from responding to candidates' comments in either the affirmative or the negative. Please hold your applause until the end of the forum. And this is the one I added. Please turn off your cell phones.
Yeah, turn off your cell phones, please. Candidates included. Now I'm going to read the ground rules, but these are for the candidates here. The moderators will be responsible for enforcing time limits, and will have the authority to interrupt the proceedings to enforce the ground rules and format. There will be one general question posed to all candidates, then one specific question for each city council position. Candidates will have 2 minutes to respond to each question. A volunteer will keep time and make countdown cards visible to the moderator and to the candidates. When allotted time has expired, candidates will be allowed to finish a sentence before the moderator interrupts. Candidates are to refrain from addressing one another. No oral questions will be taken from the audience, but volunteers will collect written questions, then select as many as we have time for after the last official question is completed. Questions to candidates are to address issues, not personalities. Again, audience members are asked to refrain from responding to candidates' comments in either the affirmative or the negative. Please hold your applause until the end of the forum. And again, I want to remind the candidates that we do have translators. I've done translation myself, and it's very frustrating when you don't give people the time. Thank you.
So what I'm going to do is first introduce the candidates very quickly. Their names are here. We have candidates for the position 2, Richard Conlon and Paige Miller. And Mr. Conlon did say that he would be arriving around 7:30. He had a prior commitment, so he should be arriving soon. And Ms. Paige Miller. For position 4, we have candidates Casey Kaur and Jan Drago. Position 6, Paul Bascom.
Dance and art. And we'll be doing bits and pieces solo. We'll do a little bit of dance, then we'll do a little bit of music, and then a little bit of art. And then we'll put it all back together again at the end, which is the same thing that we do in our Elements concert coming up next Thursday and Friday night. And that you'll have a chance to come and see that and see us in action. But today it's just for you guys, and let's start moving.
Okay, yeah, let's just take a spin around the circle and shout out your name, and maybe you'll catch 2 or 3 of them, or if you're good, you'll catch all of them. And just begin filling in a little bit of the dance element idea. We won't worry too much about it right away, more so to get you into movement. Okay, to start with, just give a little bit of a shake. Get your body just shaking. Shake, 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 shake. Let the head go. Shake, 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 shake. And take it into a run in place. A job. Get the knees lifting higher, 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 higher. And then slow it down, slow it down. Slow it down. Slow motion run. Go through the whole body so it lifts and it falls. And lifts and it falls. Lifts. And then it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's just right inside your body, just a little motor that keeps going. And then pick it up again. So the motor's fluttering right inside. Okay, with that motor going inside, calm everything on the outside, and we'll take a roll down from the head, starting with the head, the shoulders, let the knees bend, and then roll it up, all the way through the chest, so your chest goes to the ceiling, and then bring it to center. Good, so starting from the head, we'll take it on a 4 count, so we've got 1, and 2, and 3, and 4 coming up, 5, 6 back to 7 up, 1, 8 again, 2, up, 6, 7 again, and to the side, take it side, on 2 coming up, other side, and this side. Again, take it side, and up, take it side, and up, and step back, and okay, up, down, 1 at a time, up and down, and up and down, up and down, up and down, roll and roll, roll, reverse it, roll, roll and lift up, all the way, shoulders in the ears, fingers out to the ceiling. Now, drop the shoulders, let the heels come down, spread the arms wide, but keep the body lifting up through. It's the fountain coming up through the arms. And take a deep breath. Okay, good. Don't hold so much energy that you can't move. See if you can find how to keep your breath going and the body keep fluid through that. Okay, here we go for a swim. And forward and forward and forward. Ready for the backward and a back. Back, 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 back. Breaststroke and around. To the back, pull the arms around. To the back, pull them up and around. To the back and around. To the back and you put them all together. And so we brought a lot of different colors and tastes and textures with us today. And what I'd like initially for us to do is to each of us find two very different sounds somewhere in all this mess of possibilities of making sounds, not excluding your voice or the floor or whatever else you might find. When you find your two sounds, you can either find one instrument, which you can play two different ways, or you can find two different instruments. It doesn't matter. But think about, like you did a lot of different movements. You did some very slow movements. You did some very percussive movements. You moved low, you moved high, you moved wide, you moved skinny. There are the same kind of qualities you can find in music. So I'm not going to say too much more. I'm just going to give you just that, and let's see what you can come up with. The only parameter is that you find two very different sounds. And how, in what way they're different is up to you. So come and find anything's available, and then come back to the circle when you found it. What I'd like to do is to go around the circle real quickly and have everyone just right after another sort of play a little bit of each of your sounds so that we get an idea of what we have available to us to put into our salad. Okay? Okay, so why don't we start right here. Let's hear your two sounds, Heather. Just be quiet so we can listen.
All right.
Wonderful. Now that's two very different sounds. Definitely, definitely. Okay. Great, great. Now we still haven't really gotten, in the 6 sounds that we've heard so far, there's maybe been some similarities, but we really are discovering we're getting a lot of different sounds. Okay, let's do the next one.
Great to me.
Great, great. That's called improvisation. Okay, let's do next. Great. They're both things that rattle, but they're totally different. Okay, let's hear what you have. Great. All right. All right.
I don't know what a conductor is. The conductor tells you when to play and when not to play if you don't know when to play and when not to play. It all depends. In other words, don't listen to me, but watch me. Okay, what I'm going to do is I want you to react to what I do in the middle here. In other words, I'll be kind of moving around, pointing at people to play, and everybody can kind of keep playing, you know, at a nice, softer rate while the soloist comes and plays louder. And the object of this is to find as many different sounds as you can out of your instrument. I mean, I don't want somebody to go, okay, that's it, you know. They're on. In other words, like everybody's playing and you're supposed to take a solo, you're supposed to find, you know, all over the place. You know, find as many different sounds, and there are 15,000 guaranteed different sounds on this very instrument.
Are your money back?
All your money back. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a basic pulse, okay? And this is the pulse, okay? Everybody starts with their basic pulse. Very softly. Not very loudly. Medium. Okay. Now, I'm going to be picking, I want everybody to keep a medium pulse going. when I choose a soloist, when I go like that, and somebody has to play solo, everybody else goes down to here. And that person goes up to here and plays a solo.
And I'm rolling. Great. Mayor Shell. And it's my questions will never be a part of it, so if you can include Woodland Park Zoo in a lot of your answers would be cool. Why is Woodland Park Zoo important to the city of Seattle?
Well, for over 100 years, the people of Seattle have been building Woodland Park Zoo. And it's intergenerational. It's now going to be from one century to the next. It teaches, it shares the environment. The thing I love most about it, that it's a combination of a horticultural exhibit as well as a zoological exhibit. We freed the animals to be as much as we can in their native environment. It has an economic impact on our region. It draws a lot of people every year, visitors, and that has positive aspects. And it teaches us about the environment and the world we live, and that in urban settings that's very important. I love it because it invites a lot of people there to help. We have lots of contributions, but mostly there's a lot of volunteers who give their time, and I think that's critical to building community for all those reasons. It's a great investment.
With all the things that people can give to, AIDS, cancer research, starving children, why should people donate to the zoo?
Well, you know, I really don't like to do with either or investments. I think that we can...
Stop for just a minute?
Sure.
He should start the question with people should invest in Woodland Park Zoo, because
Okay.
it's not, I don't know
I don't
how
want to start
you're
with the
editing
negative.
it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
but I think it'll come off better, so it's
Okay.
a real clear and clean delivery.
People
So
should...
ask the question again.
No, I can just start. Want me to start?
Sure.
People should invest in Woodland Park Zoo. There are lots of opportunities to give to our community, but this is one that's very special. It's one that we've been working on for 100 years, and I hope for the next 100 years. It's one where we have achieved world-class status. We've done something really magnificent to maintain it, to continue to move it ahead, and so that we are setting the example. Here we are, an urban center that still cares a lot about the environment. It says a lot about us. And it is a place where we bring young and old together, and where we teach and share. And it's that sort of activity, I think, that is important in building community. While there are lots of other opportunities to make gifts to our community, and we need those too, the zoo is something we've been doing for 100 years.
One more question. Parents take their kids to Woodland Park to introduce them to the animal kingdom. Is this important, or if you think it's important, why, to their upbringing?
Well, I think there are a lot of things, but I think the fact that parents take their children to the zoo offers an option for an exciting day that builds the bond between parent and child. But it also gives perspective that we share this world with the animal kingdom, that the whole linkage between the natural environment, the built environment, between families and parents, the notion of community, and community as expressed in the animal kingdom is something to learn from as well. I think all of those are positive things that happen through this experience.
That's it.
Great,
Beautiful.
great.
I know you, sir. Do you have work in this show? Yeah. Was that last summer? And shot an interview with Dante up there, he just came up to visit. I think it was on the day of remember the dedication of the totem pole piece? Yeah.
There he is.
He's the director.
It's actually pretty simple. They've got the space. No
You've got the art.
content.
Yeah.
Like, not rocket science. It's just what you can do. Well worth it.
Yeah. Just want to roll them. You just want to roll them. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm going to get Mr. Mason over there. Have you met the mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah? Good. Okay.
I'm glad he's enjoying just hanging out and talking.
Yeah, just talking to people. Very good. Okay, you got a minute?
Handloom, Inkaloom.
How long ago was that?
About 20 years, 5 years ago.
And they're still in style.
Well, because I haven't worn them more than
Oh.
about twice.
Yeah. But the thing about styles is they all come around again.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
So tonight you are part of this show called Northwest Masters.
That's
How
what
does
I
that
heard.
feel?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know what that is really. There's a funny thing about this penny, though. It was shown at the Greg Kucera Gallery in the early 80s, and I have a rather obnoxious second cousin who I won't name, but he talks awful loud. He came to the show, and I did a sort of satire. I named it after him. It's John Likes Himself, which is his name. And he came to the show, and it was a satire, but he took it the opposite way. And he said, "Oh my God, you made me famous on my portraits in the gallery." And then, and it was real loud. You could hear it all across the whole gallery, you know. So then he called me. It was in the paper last week. You saw that? This thing painting. And immediately, I hadn't seen him and heard from him for 15 years. And immediately I got a telephone call. He says, "You made me famous again. I'm in the newspaper. My portrait's in the newspaper."
So he saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he called immediately. Says, "I got to take you to lunch, and then we got to go see the painting." Of course, he never did that, but it was
I
funny.
wonder when you look around the room here tonight, I would guess that everybody on these walls are friends of yours.
Yeah, that's true. Almost everybody. Yeah. Like Bob Jones over there, they just moved to San Miguel Allende for 6-8 months out of the year. I wish I could have done that. And Ivy was a friend of mine. Of course, he's gone now. But yeah, it's there. In fact, most of the people I taught at the university are died, of course, and so I'm still here.
That's
My
good.
mother died about 3.5 years ago. She was 104. So I have very good genes, and I wear them all the time.
Yes, we'll get a shot of those jeans. What do you think about the city owning an art collection like this?
I think it's wonderful. At least it takes place of the Northwest Annual that they used to have, and they don't have anymore, which I think still regret. That was a way of, you know, all the artists could see their work and meet together and have a competition. I regret that. That was a nice thing a long time ago, but I still remember that was nice. In a way, this takes place of that a little bit.
Place where we can see
Yeah,
a group of
local
artists
people.
together.
No elitism. Much.
Well, congratulations on being part of this, and you're still working. I know.
That's my studio, so I moved to Ballard. My roots. My father was Swedish, my mother's Norwegian, so I'm back to Ballard. That's my studio now.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Nick Licata. And position 8, Richard MacGyver and Dwight Peltz. Okay. So we're going to jump into the first general question for all of the candidates, and it's on racial profiling. So the definition of racial profiling, and someone gave a good definition earlier, but I'm just going to generally repeat it. And it's that racial profiling is any use of race, religion, ethnicity, or national origin by law enforcement officers to decide who they stop, search, and/or investigate, except when those characteristics are part of a specific suspect description. Profiling occurs not only when race is the sole criterion used by law enforcement officers in determining who to stop, search, and/or investigate, but also when it plays any role in such descriptions. So a recent report released by Amnesty International estimates that 32 million people nationwide, including 368,000 people in Washington state, have been targets of racial profiling. There have been numerous people of color killed by Seattle police or some other law enforcement officer in the last 15 years, and all of these killings have been found not justified by the inquest. You are getting ready to take office. You know these are burning issues for people of color in our community. What is your plan to end racial profiling? You can start, Ms. Miller.
First of all, I would like to thank you very much for having this forum this evening. I have served as your elected official at the Port of Seattle, and I do know that the Port Police, when I came there, was very much a police force of white males. And one of the ways that you can change police behavior is by changing the composition of your police force so that they more reflect the people in the community. And so now if you were to look at the Port of Seattle's police force, it very much looks like the United Nations. And our deputy chief last year was an African-American man who really made a difference in the way the police force operated. And when we had an incident at the airport that could have been explosive, he was able to have the trust of the community that in fact we operated carefully and did the best job we could. It seems to me that it is the same kind of thing that is important with the City of Seattle's police. The best way to reduce profiling is to make sure that the police force reflects the community. The second most important thing, it seems to me, is to include racial profiling as part of the training in the police academy for victims of profiling to be part of panels to the police trainees so that they can hear the impact that those kinds of stops have on the people who are stopped without justification and the kind of effect it has on your life. I think that would make a difference in the training of the police officers.
Thank you. I want to note that Joy is the timekeeper down here, and she's holding up signs for the candidates, and so sometime I might have to interrupt them, but it's definitely out of respect, but that we are on a short time limit here. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Jan Drago, President of Seattle City Council. I'd also like to say thank you for the host for putting this forum together and to all of the people that have turned out. Seattle Police Department has put a big emphasis on diversity in the department in the last 15 years, I'd say. And it has made a big difference. And I think today you'll see that there are many more officers of color, there's many more women, there's gender diversity as well. But in order to do that, you have to make goals and make decisions. And how you recruit is one of the tools that makes a difference. And the money that goes into recruiting, because recruiting has a cost. So once you do recruit, then one of the big issues is training. And it's all about education. It's about educating the young officers as they come on the force. But in addition to that, I think there's other things that are important. You need to build the trust between the community and the police. And that's an issue that is being worked on, and there have been a number of town meetings in the last couple of years trying to build that understanding. And the other thing that I think is very, very valuable is to have the cameras in the police vehicles. We've started on that. We're making progress, but we need to pick up the pace so that all of the cars that are on patrol have cameras in the cars.
My name is Casey Cora, and I'm running for the Seattle City Council. I have a particular interest in the quality of the Seattle Police Department. My dad was an assistant chief of police who in the 70s helped end a payoff system in the police department. The payoff system in those days was shaking down gays and minorities. They made it very hard for African Americans to get into the police department. They made it hard for African Americans to get advanced in the police department. They made it hard for women to even get hired in the police department. So am I interested in the quality of the police department? You bet. Tonight I met a man who came up to me and said that he filed a complaint, or thought he did, but no record was created. If there's no record of a complaint, it does not exist. Now I'm running to bring change on the city council. If you're satisfied that the city is responsive to issues of harassment, racial profiling, then by all means you've got an incumbent to re-elect. But if you want change on the city council, I'm going to bring effectiveness. We need a council that listens. I will not tolerate corruption in the Seattle Police Department. We need to be accountable. The people in power have to listen to communities and bring real change. Thank you.
I'm Nick Lacano. I'm on the City Council. I'm running for position number 6. I want to begin by asking a quick question. How many people here live in Seattle? You're a beautiful audience. Obviously, you're very diverse. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be at the Downtown Seattle Association. If I ask that same question, I suspect only a third would raise their hands. And believe me, they would not be as diverse as you. The bottom line is that how do we fight racial profiling is by giving you the power. You live in Seattle. You pay the taxes. You vote for us. You may not make the contributions, but ultimately hold our feet to the fire. To fight racial profiling and change it in Seattle, we have to obviously change the composition of the police force. But if you look at the actual numbers of the composition, racial composition of the line, it's amazingly very similar. It's the problem of the management. Out of 14 captains, there's only one that's African American and only one that's Asian. If you look at where people live, 70% of the police force live outside the city. And I got the statistics by trying to look at the zip codes. They need training. They need training in sensitivity. They need training in racial profiling. I've been trying to start dialogues to get that started, and I am committed to see it happen next year. And we need, finally, of the Office of Professional Accountability and Review Board, they're asking for changes. I back those changes, and I will see those changes implemented for sure, even if we have to go to the court to get them. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Paul Bascom, and I'm glad that the members of the council have finally been listening to what I've been sharing since we've been running this campaign. I've been sharing this since we've started, and now they're kind of picking up on the theme, and I'm glad at least to hear that they're now trying to talk about it more in terms of just how many police officers we have on the force, but what kind of diversity we have on the force. Again, one of my stump speeches is always about how we control our own lives. We don't have to be victims by becoming a part of the system to the degree that we have our children consider being police officers as a good career to be able to make it a positive influence in your own life, in your own communities. That's the most important way to be able to stop the profiling, by having people who understand and people whose family who have been touched, as my family have and as many of your families have, by racial profiling and police conduct that was unbecoming to them and to us as citizens of the city of Seattle. So as my position as being a member of the city council is to work positively with our police force, to work positively with our communities, so that we don't have this kind of negative relationship. It benefits nobody. When a young man who is out here buying real estate, trying to do the right things, buying a home for himself and his family, and then still get ostracized by the police because he dressed a little different, he got braids because that's what the new people, young people do. Again, there's no reason for us to have to make apologies for him having his style. We need to make sure that our police force understand that this is an honorable young man, honorable young lady who are out here in this community, and we need to protect them in every way we can, which not only means from our police departments, but from our courts, because that's where we either end up getting satisfaction or we do not get satisfaction, as has happened to many of us too many times in the past.
Somebody initially to institutionalize this who can deal with people of different political parties, different jurisdictions, people in business and government and labor. It's going to be complicated, and we need somebody to manage that, but also has the marketing and some international skills to be able to understand where the beef is, what the content is that you need to provide.
Did you feel like there was a time horizon shift for you? I mean, when you work in politics, in any level, there's a way in which the urgent issues of right now dominate your thinking. But in a role like the one you have currently at the Trade Development Alliance, your bread and butter is thinking about trends that unfold over the course of the next generation.
It is both. We're preparing a mission to Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand this fall. We're going partly because the ambassador to Singapore is from Bellevue, from this area, and wants us to come. On the other hand, strategically, we're looking at long-term relationships with those countries. On the other hand, I got to worry about bird flu. Mm-hmm. I've got to worry about airline strikes, or I've got to worry about the political situation in Thailand right now, with elections coming in December, and the military coup of the past, and the transition back to democracy, and whether there could be some instability. You've got to worry about terrorism around the world. I was in Morocco last year, and of course there's been a couple incidents in the last week in Morocco. So you're dealing with both the immediate, committing yesterday to paying for a certain number of plane tickets, substantial deposits, when people's money is not coming in yet. I said, you're dealing with the here and the now, and you're dealing with the long-term strategic view of where this community should be, not only keeping our current customers happy, but where are the opportunity markets of the future, like India, where we should be building business relations that may not come to fruition for 10 years.
Now, you're describing when you first took on this role 16 years ago or so, that there was a lot that maybe was mappable, transferable from your skills in politics at City Hall to creating an organization like the Trade Development Alliance. But I imagine there was a whole bunch of other stuff that wasn't particularly familiar. And how did you go about seeking guidance or models or mentors or advisors during that period where you're having to essentially invent an organization for a purpose that is pretty large and strategic for the region?
Well, the first thing I did was I was going to have a small staff. And so the first thing I did is I sat down and figured out what I thought needed to be done as best I could, and that was talking to people too, looking at the Dutch model and talking to the head of that organization. And then I said, okay, what am I good at, and what am I not good at or I don't like to do? And immediately I designed my deputy's job description to be what I think I needed to complement me.
Now, right there, though, did you do that on your own, or did you have somebody kind of in conversation with to point out to you, Bill, you're not so good at this, or these aren't so much your strengths?
Oh, I've been around long enough to know what I'm not good at. And to be honest, I know what I don't like to do. If you said, Bill, go in a closet, you're a type A personality, go in and write a 10-page report over the next 3 weeks and don't come out till you're finished, I'd be in an asylum like this, you know. So no, I immediately I kind of assessed. I did, with a lot of experience, both the deputy mayor and government affairs, and having a small office, knew what kind of skills it would be. But I also looked for language skills, cultural sensitivity skills on my staff. So one of my first people spoke Chinese and Mandarin, and had fair reasonable experience there. I had another person who knew Southeast Asia quite well and had lived in Indonesia and some of the Muslim countries, and had another, so I really went out and recruited and looked for people who could deliver some of the things I felt we needed, and that I was not, I don't want to things from my generation, but I don't have great language skills. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can, as a child, I could speak Brooklyn. I could barely understand people from Queens. People from Manhattan were completely another language to me. But and of course, when you're a child in Brooklyn, English is a second language to start with. But no, I look to balance that out. But along the way, I know seeking advice of people and being open to advice is important to do. Therefore, for Type A personalities, listening is important to do, and particularly when dealing internationally.
Do you feel like you have, in these years at the Trade Development Alliance, become a better listener than you had been in politics?
Well, I was pretty successful in politics, I think. I didn't, most of the campaigns I worked on won. Mm-hmm. But, no, I think it's important. I think what happens is, what's different is when you're listening to people generally from one culture, you can pick things up fairly easily. I mean, because if you get to know it politically. What's more complicated is the nuances when you're dealing with somebody internationally. Mm-hmm. In certain cultures, they may say yes, but yes doesn't mean, it means yes, I heard you, not yes, I agree with you. Mm. And if you don't understand that with that culture, then you will make mistakes. And it's a complicated world, and which makes it more complicated is most business, government officials, educators, because of the size of the United States, focus on the United States. They know who our president is, they know who important people are, they know a lot about America. You go to their country and you don't know who their prime minister is, you don't know their government structure, you don't know, and you don't know their culture. And so you make mistakes. Now, some people overseas will accept Americans don't know what's going on, but I think it's important to try to know. And I also, as one person once said to me, if you understand the people of the Philippines and their culture, you'll better understand some of the people who live on Beacon Hill. Mm-hmm. So it's not, it helps you here also. Dealing with people who are more recent immigrants, which we, of course, as our immigrant country, has a fair number of.
Let me ask you in our final minute here, you had alluded earlier to some aspects of our culture in this region that make us competitive and successful, whether it's a high tolerance for risk-taking and failure even, or our multiculturalism. Are there other aspects of the culture here that give you concern or that worry you, that could, if left unchecked or unchanged, impede our competitive position?
Well, I think we have to, as our country has to do, is to worry about the jobs in the future for people who are less educated. The unemployment rate goes up dramatically from a person with a less than a high school degree up through a person with a master's degree in computer science. The wage differentials are growing between people who are educated and not. So I think one of the things for our region, and continued support for a lot of things, is to really give some better focus to how do we provide the jobs and for the people who don't complete high school or just complete high school, because some of these jobs, whether we like it or not, are going to go overseas. It's just less expensive to do things.
Well, it's always a joy to hear you stitch together these different big pictures into an even bigger picture. And Bill, sure appreciate your joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
My guest today has been Bill Stafford. He's the president of the Trade Development Alliance of Greater Seattle. And you've been watching Seattle Voices. I'm Eric Liu, and I hope you'll tune in again.
Not a decision that we had to debate very long and hard. It had some financial impacts, but they were modest compared to the outcomes. And over the long run, as we can see from this wonderful chart here, our partnership with City Light is enlightened self-interest at its finest. We help save the planet and we save some money. To me, that's good business. And as we can see from this chart, and Jorge, you'll probably describe this in more detail, we've now saved over $19 million through our partnerships with City Light, and that's a great effort for us. So we couldn't be more pleased.
Let me just say that
President Emmerich, we are delighted that we are able to have an alliance, a partnership with the University of Washington on this important effort. I'm hopeful that other major organizations, major institutions in the Seattle service area will emulate the example that the University of Washington has set for everyone. I'm going to talk a little bit about a different dimension of our relationship with the university. We talked about the Green Up program, which focuses on renewables. There's another companion effort that focuses on conservation. And I'd like to just call to your attention a number of major accomplishments that this alliance has brought forward. The university and City Light have been working on conservation programs for a total of 15 years. We're here to kind of commemorate the accomplishments of 2005, but I want to provide a little bit of context over the long-term impact of this program. These are projects that City Light and the university have undertaken to manage our resources efficiently and to conserve energy. And over the last 15 years, the university has made something like 350 conservation improvement projects impacting virtually every building on the university campus, a total of 293 buildings. So this has been a massive multi-year effort that has resulted in very significant savings. Over the course of the 15-year period of time, the utility has been able to provide incentives to the university, which have in turn been leveraged by the university to make additional energy conservation changes. And over the 15-year period of time, those rebates incentives have totaled almost $9 million. These are incentives that the utility provides. The university in turn has made investments of their own and has realized a total of 61 million kilowatt hours in annual energy savings when you total up all of the projects that are affected. So that is a major impact. That accounts for the 19 million in cumulative avoided energy costs that the university is now benefiting from. Today, we're going to commemorate the fact that in 2005 alone, as a result of similar projects, the university has accounted for 3.3 million kilowatt hours in energy savings just for projects that were done in this last year, which is enough energy to power 320 Seattle homes for 1 year. That's 320 homes just in 1 year. If you look at the 15-year period of time, the energy savings account for about 5,700 Seattle households in terms of power use that has been saved by the university. So this is a great accomplishment, and as we mentioned earlier, that's resulting in annual avoided costs of about $3 million per year that are going to continue well beyond what the chart is reflecting in here.
Well, it's been just absolutely amazing, thrilling to watch City Light's Green Power program grow in just the 2 years since I've been on the City Council. The Council just last year, midway through 2005, passed legislation to start the new Green Up program, and it has grown substantially in that time. More than 1,200 Seattle residents decided to green up using a percentage of the energy that they use in their homes during a recent special promotion. Local businesses and organizations including Unico Properties, Pagliacci Pizza, PCC Natural Market, and FedEx Kinko's have committed to the program, and now the University of Washington. We know that our citizens like to support environmentally responsible businesses and organizations. And on behalf of the Seattle City Council, I'd like to thank the University of Washington for the investment in renewable energy. The UW has done a great, great good deed, and for Seattle and for the thank you.
Thanks for watching this edition of Netline. If you have ideas for features to include in future editions, please contact Peter Clark at the email address on your screen. I'm Sharon Bennett for City Lights Netline.
How's Brett doing? Your
Good.
neighbor across-
Good. I think he, yeah.
I went to school with him.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Do you know he does an Elvis impersonation? So he does it for the neighborhood on Neighbor Appreciation Night.
he?
Yeah.
Does a Sean
He does a
Connery?
show. Oh, I haven't seen him. Does he do a Sean Connery?
No.
He does the Elvis. He dresses up and he's got a sound system. It's just amazing.
Yeah. When Grace came by here, she thought this was the breezeway
Oh,
we were
okay.
talking about.
Yeah. It is nice to have access through there, but I hadn't noticed that before. So is this the, interiors, okay.
I think this is an example of how, again, how the design review process works.
Mhm.
There's a lot. We're going to do that too while we're at it.
I would stop on the way back.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So we are going to say
Thought
hi.
of everything.
All right. Nice and warm.
I don't know if you saw the article in the Herald a couple weeks ago, but it was about two women who run the
Oh,
store.
uh-huh.
Here's one of them. I'll
Okay.
bring over first.
All right. Hi, Greg Nichols.
Hello.
How are
Nice
you?
to meet you very
Nice
much.
to meet you.
This
Uh,
is
From the Hullabaloo?
a great
Thank you.
addition to the neighborhood because they do so much with children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of my little son.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really nice to have a place where he's comfortable. And
So-
they're-
Do you live in the neighborhood?
I don't. My
Okay.
partner does,
Okay.
Felicia.
Uh-huh.
Felicia lives right down the road.
All right. And how long have you been open?
The store's been open since December 15th of last year.
Okay.
So we're coming on
Almost
our 1
a year. That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That's terrific.
Felicia and I have been the owners since June. So
Mhm. Oh.
It's been really an adventure.
How's business?
Business has been just great. We've
Good.
really found a great following in the neighborhood. We have
Mhm.
lots of story times and book
Yeah.
clubs and a lot of pedestrian,
Mhm.
people walking their kids, going
Mhm.
to Zatz for a bagel and
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
here for story time. You have children?
I do. They're both in college.
Uh-huh.
And they'll both be in Pullman this weekend for the Apple Cup, as a matter of fact. Yeah. So
Excellent.
they both went to Lafayette up here.
Oh
and,
yeah, Lafayette is one of our, we kind of call it our partnership school.
Okay.
because
Do you do some work with the?
We do. We were
Yeah.
trying to work closely with them, teacher discounts and working with the
Mhm.
librarian.
Good. Good.
Yeah. I'd like to introduce you to my partner.
Okay.
Felicia?
Mm.
Felicia?
Yeah?
Could I introduce you to
Hi. Hi. What?
Hello.
What we'll do is we'll look forward and give you the stamp, okay? Okay. Hello.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
Nice to have you at Hullabaloo Books.
It's a pleasure to be here. This is my neighborhood, so. But
That's
my
right.
kids are a little older, so.
How old are your kids?
21 and 19.
Ah.
Yeah.
them all signed up for book clubs.
I know. So yeah, we as you can see, we've got quite a bit of stuff in the store right now for the holidays, but
Yeah.
it's primarily a family bookstore,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
we do a lot of fun activities and things. This week has been really nutty. We've had authors and illustrators.
Oh, great.
It's National Children's Book Week.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So we've done a lot of fun things for that.
Mhm.
We have an event tomorrow as well, and so.
And you also live in the neighborhood, I heard.
I do.
Yeah.
You know where the Charleston is?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
live literally behind it.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Literally.
Yeah.
And Claudia are also very, very local. 3 blocks away.
Hello there. How are you?
Robin Mercer.
I live about 5 blocks away.
You
so.
do?
Uh-huh.
And Claudia lives 1 block away from me.
Yeah.
So how's your tour of all the businesses going?
Excellent.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can I give you one of these? This is our monthly newsletter.
Okay.
You can see the different activities that we do and the story
Mhm.
times that we have.
Okay.
And I'd love to extend our invitation to you for you to come do a story time here sometime.
Oh, I'd love to. You
That
bet.
would be really,
You
really
bet.
fun.
And I will pass this on to my nephews and nieces.
Great.
They're all
Great.
We
Yeah.
have story times 3 days a week for
Uh-huh.
preschoolers.
Oh, that's
So-
great. That's terrific.
And book clubs for all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, most of your trade, is it just walk-in trade or people who,
We-
how are you
we
getting your
do-
customers?
An incredible amount of word of mouth.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I think what happens is that kids love the store as much as parents, and so they're
Mhm.
happy to come in here and
Yeah,
spend time. And parents will talk. I mean, with parents,
Right.
finding appropriate resources is really hard.
Yeah.
And so when they do find
That
a
you
place
hear
that
about,
they,
yeah.
a place that they really value, they go out and they tell everybody. And
Mhm,
so
mhm.
a lot of our new customers are, oh, my neighbor told me about this. I have to come in. Or,
Okay.
Also there's the schools.
Yeah.
Yeah,
schools.
sure. Well, yeah, it's pretty.
We have teacher discounts.
Lafayette, yeah.
Because his children live there, so.
Ah.
And you're-
so straddles an adult section
Mhm.
too.
Okay.
And so there's quite a few good adult reads. We really hand select those.
Okay.
And right now we've got a situation where all those books against that wall are 20% off, and they're all adult reads.
Oh, are they?
We bring
Okay.
them in. They're part of a holiday catalog that independent booksellers participate in.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
it's really
We
You
have
know,
a
we're
lot of adults as well who are interested in illustration, you know, the
Mhm,
children's books from
mhm.
the perspective of art.
Mhm,
So
okay.
it's really a lot of adults reading Harry Potter.
I know, I know.
Well, we're going to head down to the breeze.
Hi, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Howdy.
I want to super see.
How's business going?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah?
Really nice.
Yeah. Hi.
Really nice. It's nice to have you come visit
Oh,
us.
absolutely,
And
yeah.
I know you just went next door
Uh-huh.
to the Hullabaloo.
I hadn't been in there before.
You know, it's been the best partnering
Yeah.
of businesses for us.
What was it? It was a framing shop before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the wife of that team turned it into the Hullabaloo.
Oh,
and then
okay.
she was having a baby, and
Yeah.
she sold the business to the two women over there.
That's
So
what they
just
said
did
was that it had been open since December, but they'd had it since June. Okay, that's
and
why.
they have just expanded it.
Yeah.
And just by having, this is the combination, we keep trying to figure out ways to co-market with each
Yeah.
other, just by being next door to each other.
Mhm.
Because they have a storytelling time.
Right, right.
And then afterwards,
They're
the kids and
hungry.
their moms come over here.
Yeah.
And on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be reading them a story about Hanukkah.
Excellent. Okay.
Playing the dreidel game.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So yeah,
That's great.
It's a great addition.
Yeah, yeah.
It really is. I put some things out there for you.
Oh,
yourself.
wonderful. I know I'll
you're
dip
here
in.
on the stop, and you're going to be going.
We're going to take a look at the
Take
Breezeway and the
good.
new Bartels. And
Good.
yeah,
Have
yeah.
you been in there yet?
I haven't been in there yet. We've driven
So,
by,
okay,
but
so that's good. So but you'll get to see the garage too. then.
yes, yep.
Okay.
Now I'm very
I'm
disturbed.
also going to look at the trees that you helped plant.
The what?
The trees.
That you helped plant.
Oh, you haven't seen them yet. Oh, you're going to be walking.
I've
here
driven
and
by,
then-
although I haven't walked by it. Oh, look at that. They have the best bagels here. I don't know if you knew that.
I've been told that by you a couple times.
I'd agree. I've been eating them.
They really are good. And this is Schmear,
Yeah.
which is a cream cheese based something.
Rick, can I for the store so we know that our
Absolutely.
customers that-
Yes.
Guess who came to visit us?
Where do you normally do that sort of thing? That wall, that wall?
Actually, even in front of the bagel case.
Okay,
That's
all right.
true.
Well, I should do it with you. Have someone else take the picture. Oh, okay.
Okay. Who's a good
He's a professional.
I have the basics. I forgot my digital.
This is the firing one, right?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, let me take
Oh, and he's going to take an
Okay,
official one. You may
okay,
get on
okay,
our
good,
webpage.
Okay, good.
This
So
is Eric.
That's why. Hi, Eric.
He's the official city photographer. That work?
Did you get it?
good.
All right.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Look for it on the website, Nancy.
On the
website.
But she now finally got a job at a Blockbuster near
No.
the university. So, like when I last
That wouldn't be as much fun as working for.
It isn't. I bet it's boring. Actually, but oh no, we stopped being able to have her come in. So I told her she checks in over the holiday because I'd love to have her come back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what's fun to see, Greg. Is the high school kids that we've known.
Mm-hmm.
They come, they go to college, they come back and visit when they're done with
Yeah.
college.
Yeah, I bet that's neat.
It's a really neat thing.
We've got a number of real young staff folks. In fact, Viet, who is with us, just turned 21. And I'm looking forward over the years
are
to
they
just
like
having this.
Paid staff or
Yes.
intern? Oh,
Yep.
okay,
Yep. No, he's.
okay. There's Joan, our head to toe person.
She couldn't find a place in Fremont?
It's a very nicely run place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This building has turned out actually.
Oversee some of the activity that they've been doing.
Well, Councilmember Licata told you exactly what needed to happen. The first thing we've got to do is hold that hearing. Get your questions and statements and desires on the table. Check that list with the list the city's looking at, and do it early enough that when we start talking about it, we can put those subjects on the table. If you don't get them on the table early, you can't talk about them in negotiations. Then we start negotiations. That's when your part comes in. You're going to have to let the Seattle Police Officers Guild know that, in fact, the things that we're asking to have discussions on come from you, and you support them. So I think we can get them on the table. I think we can check them to make sure that they're what you want to see as well as what we want to see. And I think together, with your help and push on the Guild, with our help inside negotiations, we can get our negotiators to make those some of the priorities. We're not going to get them all at once. We will get them incrementally, but we got to get them on the table.
Well, the question is, how does the community have input on the next negotiation? I believe I've heard your input tonight. You're tired of racial profiling. You want more teeth into the OPA, if not a civilian review board. And these are the things you want incorporated into the next contract. Now, we're talking about collective bargaining. Two sides sit down at the table. On the table is the former contract. The police guild comes to the table with what they want. The city comes to the table with what the city wants. The question is, how highly is the city going to value what you're saying? How highly is the city negotiators going to demand civil rights be built into the next contract? And they are going to have to give up other things, because on the other side of the guild is in negotiations also. So I believe that you've made it clear what you want. The question is the city going to go to the table, bargain hard, and not agree to a substandard contract? It takes strength on the part of the city to represent you.
Okay, we're going to do one more question, and this is sort of a simple two-part question. You can answer yes, yes, no, no, yes, no, no, yes. Okay. Got it? Do you agree that there is racial disparity in drug arrests by the Seattle Police Department? It's question A. And what will you promise to do tonight to eliminate this disparity? So actually, I guess I'm sorry. The first part is a yes or no. I'm tired. First part is a yes or no. The second part is a little 1-minute response. Okay? Do you agree that there is racial disparity in drug arrests by the Seattle Police Department? Part A. Part B, what will you promise to do tonight to eliminate this disparity? And we can start with Mr. Collin. We can just go down the line again.
Well, first, there's racial disparity because there's racial disparity in all of the drug enforcement that's taking place in our society. So I would say, yes, that is the case. Some of that is because of the nature of the laws, because the laws are written differently for substances that are used in different communities, and that's wrong. We can lobby to try and change that on the state and federal level. I don't know how successful we'll be on that. But in terms of specifically dealing with the Seattle Police Department, the oversight that the council has over the police department is one of the ways in which we have the opportunity to influence the way in which they enforce things. We had, a year or so ago, we had the marijuana initiative, which essentially said marijuana was going to be the lowest priority for the police department in their enforcement. That was an initiative that came from the people, was passed by the voters, and I think it's being enforced fairly well, although I know there may be some exceptions. I'd be interested to hear if there are any. From the council standpoint, we need to keep putting the pressure on to say what we want to do is to get treatment for people who have drug problems, and we want to have enforcement against people who are pushing those drugs. Thanks.
This takes me back to my youth. When I was 20, I was a corrections officer in a girls' reformatory. I was only a little older than the girls. And when I was 22, I was a counselor in a girls' drug abuse treatment program. And there was disparity then as to who was admitted to those programs and who was incarcerated. And I believe there is still disparity, and I hate to tell you how many years later it is. It is clear from listening this evening and from things I've heard that the buy-bust policy is one of the places where we could make a difference in the disparity and also improve our police enforcement too. And I would promise to work on that.